To give you an overview of the astrology of the first part of 2025. I'll be getting into the second part of 2025 in another video. There's so much going on in 2025. This is a historical year, astrologically speaking, and otherwise. So we're going to be seeing some planets moving into signs this year that we have not experienced in quite a long time. And the combination of all of these outer planets changing sign, as well as some really interesting movements by the inner planets, some eclipses, and the Mercury retrograde cycle moving into fire signs, it all combines to make this a year to remember. When I was looking ahead at this year and just sort of sitting with some of these themes that seem to emerge, the two words that came out for me were slow fire. And this year seems like a transition year. It's kind of like the bridge between the old and the new, the past and the future. It's a year that gives us time to catch up to speed with many of the really big shifts in sort of the basic tone of life that we've been living in for the last 20, 30 years. And some of that's definitely influenced by this shift of Pluto into Aquarius, but we also have really significant shifts of the other outer planet that are shaping this transitional year. So the year starts off with Mars continuing to be retrograde, and Mars began its retrograde cycle last fall of 2024 in the sign of Leo. And so Mars, just as a little review and refresher, Mars is the planet that is representative of our physical vitality and energy. It's also how we access our will, how we make things happen in the world, how we move forward, how we activate our goals or a plan. Mars is the planet that is known as the warrior or warrioress, and so wherever our Mars is by sign or house, it's going to give information about our style of conflict, of fighting, of how we express our passion in the world, and how we get things done. So collectively speaking, with Mars and Leo, we've got Mars and Mars is a fire planet and Mars and a fire sign, Leo. So that combination is both very exciting and passionate and energizing, but it also can be combustible. And as Mars has been moving backwards over the last few months, retrograde, we're given an opportunity to do all the rewords, the work of a retrograde, reflecting, rethinking, removing, renewing our relationships with the qualities of Mars and how that shows up in the sign of Leo. So Leo is that sign that's about shining. You know, Leo is ruled by the sun. So it's how we take up space, how we're visible, how we share our gifts and our creativity and our light with the world. So Mars retrograde in Leo has given us a chance to reflect on those themes, to explore how we use our energy, to get a sense of where our energy is drawn to, of where our passion is drawn. And hopefully you've all had some time and some space and some experiences that have allowed you to really look at some of those themes showing up in your life. And that's going to be more personalized if you have your natal birth chart and you can look at what houses or house that Mars has been going retrograde in your chart. So the January shift happened when Mars goes retrograde back into Cancer. And that's going to happen on January 7th of 2025, where Mars is going to move from 0 degrees of Leo to 29 degrees of Cancer. And it's going to stay retrograde in Cancer until February 24th of 2025. And then going to go direct from there, and it will move back into Leo in April. So basically, we've got about 3.5 months of Mars retrograde and then direct in the sign of Cancer. So that's giving us a really careful, thoughtful, and introspective time to explore how we are using our energy around emotions, around our relationships to family and the past, around our connection to our roots, and our sense of memories. Carl Jung's book, Memories, Dreams, and Symbols, is a great book to explore right now as Mars goes retrograde in Cancer. And it really is going to be the best use of this time to take your energy and pull it back a bit. Pull it back and pull it in, pull it down, pull it towards a more reflective place as Mars continues to move through Cancer. The next big thing that's happening in January is on January 12th, and this is also another kind of watery influence, Cancer being a water sign. And then on January 12th, the nodal axis, and the nodal axis, collectively speaking, is how and where and why we are stretching towards growth and evolution. So the south node of the moon is where we're coming from, what needs to be released, what would probably benefit from being more minimized and reflected on, but also released. Whereas the north node is that place that we're stretching towards, that we're learning how to incorporate and bring in and just integrate more and more over the next 18 months or so as this nodal axis of Virgo and Pisces begins to take more shape. So the south node is going to be moving from Libra into Virgo, and the north node is going to be transitioning from Aries into Pisces. So we've got a north node shift from fire into water and a south node shift from air into earth. It's a really different experience of our collective evolutionary path. So some of the themes around that is that what is important to focus on during this time that lasts about 18 months as the nodes stay in Virgo and Pisces is that we are learning to let go of more challenging Virgo qualities. And remember, Virgo, like every sign, has a polarity of both the positive and then the more difficult or challenging themes that show up in that particular sign. So for Virgo, the challenging themes have to do with anxiety, over-analysis, logic at the expense of connection or humanity. Virgo also has to do with being contracted, with being nitpicky, critical, and being so lost in the details that it's hard to see the bigger picture. So these are the qualities that, collectively speaking, we are going to be learning how to release, let go of, and minimize. The other side is the North Node in Pisces. And Pisces is the last water sign in the zodiac wheel. And Pisces is a sign that has to do with collective connection, humanity, compassion. It's how we in our individual, kind of I place come together as a we in an emotional sense or in a spiritual sense. It's how we can look past our separateness and see our sense of shared humanity and connection. It's how we can let go of judgment and find a place of compassion. So this is something we're all going to be learning about together as we move further into 2025. But the first introductory point of that is going to be on January 12th, when the nodal axis shifts for the first time. And this point is also going to signal a new eclipse season, which I'll talk about a little bit more as we head into March. The other thing that happens to kind of close January out with a bang is that Uranus, which has been retrograde in Taurus for about 5 or 6 months, is going to go direct. And as it goes direct, it's going to slowly, over the next few months, kind of wrap up its time in the sign of Taurus, which it's been in for about 7-8 years, and it's going to get ready to move into Gemini, an air sign. So that's going to be happening a little bit further on into the year in June, and so we'll talk about that in another video. But that is a really big energetic shift and a focal point for that time at the end of January. Uranus is that planet that has to do with lightning. Lightning is a Uranian ally. And so Uranus is the planet that shakes up our sense of reality. It illuminates so that we can see what needs to be changed. And it moves us from the past into the future, or into the kind of very present moment in a very quick and electrifying way. Uranus is helpful in allowing us to break patterns that are not serving our true sense of authenticity, or that are keeping us from being free. And so Uranus is going to help all of us collectively, individually, learn about what's standing in the way of allowing ourselves to be as free and true and authentic as we can be. Uranus is a planet that's very enlivening. When we let go and don't try to hold on to what's not, real anymore, it really can help us feel alive. So take note of those days around January 30th, especially if you have planets or key points like your north or south node or your ascendant degree around 23 degrees of the fixed signs. So Uranus is going to go direct at 23 Taurus, and that's going to affect all of the fixed signs, which include Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. And so anywhere in your chart where you might have Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius around 20 to 25 degrees, you're going to be feeling this shift in direction, Uranus going direct a lot more impactfully.